All right. Well, I apologize to everybody who has an allergy to high levels of cringe, but we do have to talk about CPAC over the weekend. We are going to look at some of the wackiest moments from CPAC. We're going to look at the various speakers. We'll look at the interviews that Donald Trump gave before and after his CPAC speech. But we're going to start with Donald Trump's completely deranged, unhinged, yes, febrile. It's the last day of February. So I'll move on to a different adjective in March. But for February, these are still going to be described as febrile speeches. Donald Trump, at moments, the crowd was engaged. At moments, the crowd was completely bored. But apparently announcing a 2024 run. By all estimations, Trump is saying he's running in 2024. Take a listen.
They're going to find out the hard way starting on November 8th, and then again, even more so on November 2024. They will find out like never before. We did it twice, and we'll do it again. We're going to be doing it again.
So this seems as though it is Donald Trump announcing that he is running for president in 2024. I know it's not a formal announcement, and a formal announcement would bring with it different sorts of limitations and financial requirements and reporting and things which Trump wants to avoid. But it seems that he's saying he's going to run. Trump kind of bringing out all the hits that we became used to during his presidency. One is those sort of weird, some people call them like neurological glitches. It's where Trump messes up a word and sort of twitches, and it's weird. Let's take a look at one of those. There were a handful.
System to persecute you. It is a persecution.
And again, we don't know what that is. There's a twitch, and he messes up a word and then tries to get back on track. We just don't know what this is. We'll look, and you really have to see it. Let's look at it once more.
System to persecute you. It is a persecution.
Yeah, we don't know. We don't know what that is. Another classic from Trump is the sir routines. Stories where Trump uses the word sir are almost always stories that didn't happen.
Sir.
Yeah. So here's Trump telling one of his sir stories.
I've had great people come up to me and tell me, sir, may I please ask you a question? Yes, what would you like to know? Sir, how did you take it? How did you take it?
So multiple sirs there, and that story almost certainly didn't happen. Trump shouting out his former doctor, who's now a congressman, and talking about how the doctor got to know every inch of Trump.
A man that knows me almost better than any human being. He knows every inch of me. And he thinks it's actually a very beautiful sight.
So just very weird. I mean, I can't say that that's not funny, but it's just all pretty weird. Donald Trump then seemingly tries to take credit for getting the United States out of Iraq and out of Afghanistan, neither of which happened while Trump was president. I mean, I don't know that it matters to him, but those things didn't happen while he was president.
Remember, though, when so many people in the Democrat Party and during the debates said he's going to get us into the third world war with Trump. I'm the one that didn't have any wars. I'm the one that got us out of wars. Look at Iraq. Look at Syria. I was the one that brought us way down in Afghanistan. I brought you down to 2,000 soldiers. The easy part was just getting out. I brought it down from 20,000 soldiers to 2,000 soldiers. The easy part was for Biden to just get them out, let the soldiers stay, the remaining soldiers, and take care of everything. It's called Soldiers Outlast. I went to a child.
Yeah. So very, very confusing thing. He says he got us out of Iraq, which he didn't. He did draw down troops in Afghanistan, but then he says he left Biden the easy part. But then Biden should have let him stay, but it was easy to take him out. It's all very, very confused. It doesn't actually make any sense. Trump then again telling one of these stories of where he refers to a Taliban leader as Abdul. Now, for a while, when he would refer to this leader, he would refer to him as Muhammad. So it's not clear Trump knows the guy's name, or maybe he's using Abdul/Muhammad as a placeholder for it was a Muslim guy. It's not really clear. And he tells a story again. It probably never happened that he showed a picture of the guy's house as a threat to the leader. It's very, very weird.
But I said, Abdul, you're killing our soldiers. You better fucking not kill our soldiers anymore. Because if you do, you will be hit like no country has ever been hit. You will be hit harder than anybody has ever been hit.
Okay.
And he said, Mr. President, but why? He actually called me Your Excellency. I don't know. Do you think he calls Biden Your Excellency? How about you? He goes, but why Your Excellency, Mr. President? Do you send me a picture of my house? And I said, I'd rather not answer that question. See,
that almost certainly never, ever, ever happened. Trump then tells the lie that, again, Hillary spied on my campaign. Of course, the crowd demands Hillary be locked up.
Now we know that crooked Hillary not only spied on my campaign, she spied on the White House.
Remember, none of that is true. That's not what the Durham report filing said. There's no evidence that that's true, but the crowd doesn't care. So the crowd chanting, lock her up. And of course, remember, these are the people of law and order and due process. Hillary Clinton has not even been charged, never mind convicted of any crimes. Locking such a person up is weird. Then a really unusual contrast happened during his riffing part, because Trump does this thing during these speeches where he'll read a little bit of something off the prompter and then he'll riff. And in his riff, he criticized the Supreme Court, which is 1/3 made up of people he selected. And then later, off the prompter, he bragged about how he chose conservatives to the court. It's very funny because he doesn't even know that this is a direct contrast. So here he is trying to goad the audience into booing the Supreme Court justices.
But even our Supreme Court justices, and it's sad to say this,
right,
are afraid to do what has to be done to save our country. They're trying so desperately to be politically correct and to be loved by all. These are the justices of the United States Supreme Court.
So Trump there criticizing the Supreme Court. And what he means, guys, is they didn't flip the election to him. That's really what he means. But funny, later off the prompter, he brags about how he selected conservatives to the court. Wait, but these are the conservatives you just attacked.
As your president, I kept my promise and chose Supreme Court justices on the list I gave to the country before the 2016 election. I gave a list of great, brilliant, conservative justices.
Right. So they're now taking credit for the great conservative justices. And then lastly, and this is the funniest moment, Trump starts reading his closing. And because Trump struggles to read off of the teleprompter, he pauses at a weird moment where it sounds like he's saying, I'm here today as your president. Trump was actually about to read a list of things he did as president, but the crowd is so weaponized. When Trump says as your president, they think he's saying I am now your president, and they go crazy cheering and with a standing ovation. It's beyond parody. This is a sick cult.
In summation and in closing, as your president, I instituted...
Oh, God. You understand what's happening, right? The crowd thinks Trump is saying, in summation, as your president, right? He's saying, I'm here today as your president, and the crowd cheers. Remember, if it's Trump alone doing these things and nobody cares and nobody pays attention, it's one crazy guy. When you have a movement full of people who love this stuff, it's just a reminder, and that's what CPAC was, of how sick and dangerous and delusional this entire movement is in the United States. That's Trump's speech to CPAC. Let's now look at a little bit of the sort of little press conference that Donald Trump gave. I'm always looking for something new in tech and finance, something no one else is doing. And that's why I really like Masterworks, one of our sponsors. It's a first of its kind fintech startup in Silicon Alley in New York. Masterworks gives everyday people access to something that's usually reserved for the ultra wealthy, and that's contemporary art as an asset class. Masterworks enables you to buy shares that represent an investment in world-renowned pieces of art. So Banksy, Monet, Picasso, right from your couch. Fine art has outpaced the S&P 500 by 164% from 1995 to 2021. And Masterworks is opening up the very elitist art market, leveling the playing field between us and the 1%. They analyze over 60,000 data points to find artists with high potential for growth. They buy the art, they register it with the SEC so that you can invest. And it's a way to diversify into something with a low correlation to the stock market. I've always thought what Masterworks is doing is very cool, and they're giving my audience priority access when you use the link below.